I'd love to talk about the Creator and Lord because there are many concepts about that we come up with as a belief system. And we must ask ever so often, how does these different belief systems come about? And we know that we have the ability to think, plan, we have creativity to explore and apply what is already existing, to present it in the best way that benefit our civilization and our existence as individuals. So thankfully, we are created with what I've researched to be the sufficiency in all life. The sufficiency in all life. We look at various geniuses within the creation. We see how the moon is set in its orbital space. The sun likewise in its orbital space. We understand the earth to be a pinpoint planet, let's say a pinpoint sized planet compared to the rest out there. And we try to understand how vast those other planets are and perhaps why. We perhaps would think, was planet Earth created first, or did they all come about simultaneously? It is possible, just a speculation, that with the long time that Earth has existed, here come my interruption, the dog next door. With all the time in which the Earth existed, that every other planet possibly grew from after the Earth was created, because everything that is living is created to grow. Everything that is living is created to grow. And sometimes whatever grows from one level will transcend to a greater level, so that perhaps all the planets after Earth possibly are an outgrowth of Earth's experience. We may consider whether Earth is like a laboratory of the Creator's design, a laboratory from which discoveries are made within the physical to advance beyond time as we know it, and perhaps even space as we know it. Because we are quite sure we have five senses, but we are not quite sure whether that's all there is in other created forms. So we look at our solar system and we draw conclusions based upon 5 senses that we have, and we don't know much about the Creator. We know there's a Creator because I'm within creation right now, so there's a creator. I speak, I move, I exercise, so that's ample proof that I was created to do what I'm doing. But how much do you know about the creator that did not only create me, the planet Earth, the planet Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, much, much, much larger planets out there. And we constantly seek to understand what might and what power does all that. And we can only attribute it to the Creator. And even in the midst of knowing that that self that created all that must be so much, much larger, so much more larger, to the point that no one can quantify with five senses. No one can quantify with five senses, but it is out there. But with what we know, we are created with the sufficiency to know. The sufficiency to know and to apply that so skillfully we are here, surviving, growing, and getting better and better at mastering the planet, the environment in which we live, because we are created with the sufficiency to do exactly that and more. And we are growing, and have grown to a point now where the world is benefiting from some of those great advancements, inclusive of the internet and computer technologies that baffles the mind. Nowadays, we are in an era where a two-letter word is getting more and more important than ever before. That word is AI. AI. And so many possibilities will come from that simple fact that there is a technology called AI. And so we are not sure where that will take us. We're not quite sure where that will take us. I knew of a man, I forgot his name at this moment, that speak of the singularity. The singularity. And we must consider seriously what does that mean in the age of burgeoning technology and the power of the computer to do things that years ago were not possible. But all of that comes from the sufficiency in all of us to think, be creative, and to apply. We've seen the many ways in which science has developed into great things, great and marvelous changes in society. And we know for sure that all this comes because sufficient in all of us is the creativity, the power, the understanding, and connection with the Creator through the sufficiency to do marvelous things. But here's the problem. The problem is how we use it. The problem is how we use it. Because we have to use everything in proper balance. For example, if proper balance is here, and we are constantly moving away from it because of greed, ego, and self-indulgences, just to please self and secure number one, instead of thinking of the mass, the majority. We are losing ground in our inconsistencies. We are losing ground as we stray farther and farther away from the balance perspective. So the call will always be, how can I get back to good balance? How can I get back to the right balance? And there are many things, there are many speakers, many prophets, many sages, many gurus that speak to that in terms of religion, in their differences, yet having one common truth. That is the fact that we are here on this planet to take care of each other. We are here to take care of each other. If 1% or 2% of humanity is rich and powerful and always trying to pile it on over and over, greed and gluttony constantly, if that's what happened and there's nothing going to the rest of humanity, there's no security in that 1 or 2%. There's nothing lasting for that 1 or 2%. Money and fame have limitations. Money and fame have limitations. You still, because you have a lot of money, that doesn't mean you don't get sick. That doesn't mean you're not subjected to the many diseases and viruses that attend human life. Because you're human. You're human. And the thing about being human is that you have a dual identity. The fact that you can move and speak and do all the qualities of the sufficiency in you, it means that you're also spiritual. It means you're also spiritual. That part of you that is invisible, that part of you that is invisible, that part of you that was in existence before you take on this bodily form, and that is not time-bound. Time-bound entities are earthly. And I mentioned earlier on that perhaps Earth is a laboratory of the Creator's design to bring about much, much greater things. And the more we are growing and heeding the call of the sufficiency in us, is the closer we're getting back to the right balance. And our destiny is to become balanced. The destiny is to achieve the right balance. It is not achieved in wars. It is not achieved in mayhem. It is not achieved in hate, there has to be a gravitational pull towards that four-letter word that is love. There has to be a constant migration from the wavering and rebellion to come back to that balance, which is love. Because we are all here to take care of one another and to grow in better spirit beings on the other side by doing so. So we are a dual identity. We have a spiritual identity long before we take on this frame. And when we are removed from it, we go back to that form. And I have a very great conviction that says this is the great purpose of life, that we go back at a higher standard of spirituality than we were before. And perhaps we are on a journey for a certain level of spirituality behind the veil, which we do not know what's behind the veil of that greater spirituality. Because no one who passed away have yet returned to tell us what it is like. I have my own opinion based upon my own life experience on the planet for several decades. I can remember as a child growing up. As a child, say 4 years old, getting into my teens by 14, 15, 16, 17, I have memories that surfaced in my head that I had not yet lived to have them. So it sort of speak to me in a language that says, you've been here before. You've been here before. That same spirit, dual identity of yours, right as you breathe breath at this very moment, you have lived it before. And when you have taken off this form, you will go back to it. And as I say, I speculate at a much, much higher level for much, much higher purpose, according to the Creator's design and the sufficiency in all of us. So every day, like today, as the sun shines and the sun rises and you breathe the fresh air to be rejuvenated, to replenish your cells and as well as your abilities, it is a day to be praising and being thankful for the marvels of the Creator's work in you that means so much. I often, from my understanding, why a person would commit suicide, I never can understand it. For most of my life, I've never, regardless of my struggles, my wants, and my letdowns, I've never felt that there could be such a thing as contemplation of taking my own life, or even the life of another person for that matter, because purpose is so true and pure that I cannot see those things as part of my sphere of existence, because every human being is carefully and wonderfully made. So we celebrate every day of life with that thought in mind, with that concept, with that perspective, because it is life-giving to know that you were born to live forever. You were born to live forever. It is one of the reasons I wrote a book called Mystery of the Twice Born. Mystery of the Twice Born. I was trying to understand all the things that were coming into my mind. And so I did do some research, and little by little, I'm being taught what is there to know coming through the divine sufficiency in me. The divine sufficiency as in it just about everything you need to live. Within the divine sufficiency, you have the science of life. You have the spiritual teacher that you need in life. Everything, as you have everything within the divine sufficiency given to everyone by the Creator. And so, even when it comes to the teacher, there is a wise saying that goes this way. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. From whence does the teacher appear? The teacher may appear from your research to understand the proddings that are coming out of your own heart and mind. The teacher will emerge from that. It will also emerge from another person who has lived the experience and is able to teach you. One of those teachers was a man called Yeshua ben Yosef, commonly known as Jesus. Yeshua ben Yosef, commonly known as Jesus. And one of the reasons that word, that name, is so strong, because the energy of that name represent the highest ideals of humanity. But he was not the only one. And he was not the creator or God, as some people think. Because even Jesus himself says, "Greater work than you see me do shall you do." Because he recognized that he was only one of the many teachers who will continue to emerge on the planet to teach, to guide, and to provide directions that will lead to the incredible potential destiny that is in all of us equally. We probably will not attain that most incredible potential in one lifetime. But as I mentioned before, we are not only what you can see, but we are also what you cannot see, which is the spirit side of you that exists beyond you, before you, and beyond you. That is the greatest encouragement that you can ever have, to know that what you see is not all there is. And so today, I'm here, replenishing this old man in order that I may be a better vessel or capacity for that which is spiritual in me, and for that which is at this time, for that which is spiritual in me at this time, and for that which is to come as growth takes place day after day, year after year, and so on in this incredible lifetime. And for this we say, thanks to the great and marvelous Creator of all things and the divine sufficiency in all of us. Let's say thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, today.